Well, this is the final week of a 12-week program that I've been doing by Julia Cameron. Wow, it's been a journey, and I definitely learned a lot, but I will kind of get back to that a little later in the video. I'm just going to try to focus on week 12 and not get too ahead of myself because I definitely want to cover this chapter. Recovering a sense of faith. I just feel like the universe, the timing of things, I can't help but think it's like serendipitous. And I have to say, personally, in the last 2 weeks, I have been tested. My father passed 2 weeks ago, and it wasn't a surprise. We've had like a sort of winding road journey in our relationship, and it's sad. I feel like we finally got to reconnect. It was like an enjoyable part of my life. Who is this man that was my father, and learning about who he was without these filters and kind of like these old history. We started really developing like a good relationship, and one that I felt safe in. It was a difficult, long journey, and I'm glad he's not suffering anymore, and I'm gonna miss him. The following week, my cast job in New York City came to an end. I'm looking at my nails because I wouldn't say it was a shock, because I knew this job wouldn't last forever, because the woman that I was taking care of, her needs were changing, and it was only a matter of time. It has called into question my faith. Do I have faith? Do I trust that things are going to work out? It's just interesting that it like lined up with this week, with this last week, week 12. So relinquishing control. Joseph Campbell said, "Follow your bliss and doors will open where there were no doors before." And one of the things my grandfather used to say to me is, don't learn something that you don't want to be good at. But this one has always stayed with me. And it's just one more like affirmation to trust, to take a stepping stone forward in towards our dreams. We're either going towards our dreams or going away from them. And like that image of the shark sinking to the bottom, either we're doing the work to right ourselves with our truest dreams and desires, or we're stagnating. And that is like the unfortunate truth. The mystery. Creativity, like human life itself, begins in the darkness. Yeah. So there's that thing of like being in the forest in the dark, and something about this primitive experience really hits at the core of what it feels like to have deep fears. Now, some of these fears that I might have, putting myself out there online, not being liked, doing something and being making a mistake, or being blamed for something I didn't do, being misunderstood. These things that they might not be like being chased by a tiger or being in the middle of the woods, but whatever your fears are still feels completely all consuming and lives in like the heart of darkness. Mystery is the heart of creativity. So being comfortable with the unknown and getting used to starting again, starting a new project, whether it's successful or a failure, to pick ourselves up and brush ourselves off and starting again and starting again. Like, this can feel, I can't believe I'm here again. And I think all of these, trials and tribulations can just further forge or further define my commitment to what it is that I really want out of life, and what I'm doing here, and who I am. And so, like, that further investigation, but also being like in awe of the mystery of life, right? Because I think the more we shed all of that stuff, all of the ego stuff, all of the fears, all of the, things that are not serving us, the more we can lean into the mystery and beauty of life. And it's okay not to know all the answers. And it's okay to not know where a project is going to go, and still get up every day and put yourself in front of a canvas or camera or whatever it is and see where it takes you, and experiment and go and enjoy the process, right? What does she say? Life is one big artist date. So the devotion to, like, she also talks about this kind of messing with ideas when they're in their like fledgling state, and or like bread, putting bread in the oven, not allowing it to rise, and just like always looking at it, like the attention needs to shift. Like, while the bread is in the oven, I need to like go and take a bath or do something else, so that it's like it has a chance to take root and rise and take shape, whatever its shape is supposed to be. We have to trust the darkness. I might not know, but there is a plan for me. Imagination at play is, I feel like that, if a lot of this work is just to get to this place where we can be open and like a divine channel, in a sense, right? And that to me is spirituality. Like, that to me is where the spark happens, where the magic happens, where you can feel there's something else out there. There's a force beyond ourselves and our own control and our own experience that can guide us. And that's comforting and also exciting. It's not like comforting like in the way that mac and cheese with bacon could be comforting. It's comforting in like, yes, it's like satisfying in a way that's hard to describe. It's satisfying, like, it's so joyful to have this experience and be in this place of alignment that the results don't matter anymore. It's just in itself the joy of the downward river and experiencing the meandering path that it takes. Escaping velocity. So I think this is really just goes back to this aspect of the practice. Like these all of these tips and techniques and prompts are a way to untangle the ways that we've abandoned ourselves as creatives or as human beings, and understanding like what our go-to escapes are, right? Whether it's smoking, drinking, thoughts, calling a negative friend, whatever it is that you're using as the wet blanket. There's a lot of wet blankets. There's a lot of distraction, and just being aware I'm just feeling like more expansive room for me to protect my imagination. This one stood out for me. Number 2, take a look at the areas of procrastination. What are my go-tos? What do I use to escape the velocity, to like resist the flow of life? What is it? What are the payoffs of this? Because there is a payoff, or else we wouldn't do it. It believes, and it's just, she suggests like doing a God jar, and like writing down our worries, kind of like more focused morning pages. In the beginning, we sort of wrote down a lot of like negative stuff to get that out, and then this one's like more of like, I'm giving over this particular worry to the God jar or the God box. It is nice to be able to complete this, but it does also feel like open-ended, like in a way I'm at the beginning of this journey. It's like we can plan and plan, and I think what I've understood through these last 12 weeks is what is really important for me to understand about myself is that it's okay for me to say no and be defining. Part of saying no is defining what I'm comfortable with and what I'm not comfortable with. And that's okay. Through this process, whether intentional or not, the relationships that I'm supposed to turn down the volume on, and it's just happening without me even making a conscious effort to do that. I will say that having done this course has grown my capacity to be trusting in a power greater than myself. Maybe I'm at the beginning of this part of the journey, but really trusting my inner guide. And I feel like through this program, she's given so many tools and so many techniques and so many prompts to uncover the stuff that we have like abandoned, like the stuff that we've sort of layered on as coping techniques or these different like maneuvers to mask what is getting in the way of living the life that we want and living out our dreams. Ultimately, relinquishing control and trusting my inner voice, even when it might not make sense, is probably going to be like what I want to invite in to what's next for me. And like if there is a spiritual journey, I think that is going to be the one for me, is just to really tune in to what does Geraldine need, and what does Geraldine want and desire, and what is the next right step. I keep coming back to this idea, the main idea that she has, that she puts forth as like the work of this book, I would say, is this alignment that our dreams are actually part of the divine plan, which it's, in a way, it's like such a relief. This idea, like to fully embrace this idea could be like such a relief, because all we need to do is trust and take the next right action and show up, do the work. And yeah, maybe some days won't be easy and we don't really know why. And to just keep showing up and doing the work. Trying to think of what's next. It would be really awesome one day to have a community of people that are like-minded, that are just lit by the creative process. Also have another video that is just about the writing, because I feel like just that aspect alone was so worthy in itself. Just the idea of journaling and using that to unpack. You will hear something if you listen for it. I didn't know, like, when I started sharing this content online, I was like, why am I sharing this? And to a certain degree, it has low views, and I'm like, why did I share that? But by the end of this book, she talks about sharing it with another artist, and passing on these techniques and way of recovering and protecting our creative life, which I think is so beautiful. And it kind of full circle made so much more sense of why I had like an impulse to put this journey online. So I hope that it does help someone, another creative, or you just want to like do the work to be like an actual good human being. So I wish all of the people who watched this video the best on their ongoing journey. May the force be with you. Although that sounds very Star Trek-y. I'll just say, may the creative force be with you.